There's staff video.
No, that's the shorter one.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you for joining the FaceTime Live of Dr. Simonds Metabolics and Weight Loss in our Raleigh office today. I'm Dr. Wickham Simonds, and this is Michelle Kennedy. She is a nurse practitioner, and I would say the most qualified nurse practitioner in obesity medicine in the entire nation today. I'm going to brag on her a little bit. She's a fellow of the Obesity Medicine Association, and I am proud to have her on my staff and here with me today. Yeah, good. Right, we're at the Raleigh office here, which is in Wake County on Falls of Noose Road, out near 540 across from the Lafayette Village and next to Piper's Tavern. If you've not been to this location and you live nearby, you don't have to go all the way to Durham. You can come here to this location. It's a great location, and Michelle is here all the time, and I'm here sometimes, but Michelle's here all the time, and so you'll get a real good deal coming over here. And we want to thank you for joining us today. We hope everyone is safe and well during this whole COVID-19 virus thing. I want to encourage you, don't be fearful. We're going to come through this thing all right. Reject fear. Be positive. This is all going to be okay. So we've got some good questions today, right, Michelle?
Yeah.
We got a couple from actually last time that we didn't get to, and I just want to start with the one that Martha sent in. Martha, thank you. I hope you're watching, and thank you for submitting this question, but it has to do with intermittent fasting. Martha wants to know, which fasting time schedule do you think is the most beneficial, and how often, and what is our opinion of one meal a day? So what do you think about that?
I think that's a great question, and we get questions all the time from patients about fasting. Fasting is not new. It is newer in media, and people are more aware of it now, but fasting is something we've done since the beginning of time, because when there was food, we ate it, and when there wasn't, we didn't.
That's right.
So this is really not a new concept. It's not something our bodies are ill prepared to do. We are very, very equipped to fast. There are healthier ways to do it. And she brings up a couple of good points, is how many times a day should you eat, I guess, regardless of your window? What should the window be? And then people ask too, does it matter what I eat during that window? And I tell folks, we got to make this work for your schedule. There is not necessarily an ideal time for everyone, but there may be an ideal time for you. Do you say the same thing when it comes to the timing of fasting?
I agree with that.
Yeah.
And not everyone's wired the same, right?
Mm-hmm,
yeah.
Exactly. So some people, eating one meal a day feels great. They're energized. It's simple for them. They don't have to worry about cooking. Other people, the idea of one meal a day is a little bit too difficult. So oftentimes when people are kind of naive to fasting, I tell them, let's start with 2-3 days a week, maybe not back-to-back days. Maybe we do one day, Wednesday and Friday, or see how you feel when you get up in the morning. If it makes sense, fast. For therapeutic purposes, often it's getting to that, I would say, 16-hour mark of a fast and trying to eat within an 8-hour window. That's typically best. And most people do find like a 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. to be a little bit easier than a morning where you stop eating at 2 or 3 p.m. because dinner is social time. A lot of us are with their families. It may not be great to restrict our eating when we should be having that social time. But again, it depends on her. If you live alone, you may love stopping eating before you get home from work so that you don't have to worry about food when you get home from work. You just get home, you do what you need to do, and you go to bed. So again, it's varied. What tips do you give?
Yeah, I always said my first statement is the lion doesn't eat when he's not hungry. And so if you're not hungry, you don't have to eat. The first meal of the day is typically was from a Latin term that meant to break the fast. This is where we get the term breakfast from. And if that's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, that's fine. So if you last eat at 8 p.m. and your body gets hungry at 3 in the afternoon, then that's what time you should eat. And so if you're trying to, you're purposely doing this to maybe break a plateau or something.
Mm-hmm.
I think you made a good point about the 16-hour mark, and maybe even step it out from there until you see that your body is losing weight.
Mm-hmm.
But this is not a dangerous thing. Eating one meal a day is not a dangerous thing. You made a specific comment about the content of what you eat. Now, I think this matters in this context. So explain what you mean by that.
So it is still very important in the feeding window to get enough protein and to try to get some nutrition, right? If we are fasting, but all we're eating during our feeding window is, cereals and Twinkies and Oreos, that kind of defeats the purpose, because your body is, working really hard during your fasting window to get into a fat burning state, to keep your muscle exactly where it is, keep your bones strong, keep your metabolic rate going. So if you end up breaking your fast with some pretty, junky, high sugars, high starch foods, you're not going to feel well, but it's probably going to be a lot harder then to continue to do the fasting, because your insulin levels are going to be going up and down on a roller coaster. And I will say, as far as what can you have in the fasting window, we tell folks staying hydrated is really important. Some people will need electrolytes. Drinking broth will help with that, or doing some of the electrolyte waters like Smart Water, Core Water. And then you can have coffee, tea, sparkling water. We're just not putting sugar sweeteners into them. So would you agree with protein being?
Yeah, I agree.
Important?
Just lay off those simple and refined carbohydrates. All they do is raise your insulin level. They keep your body from burning fat, and it doesn't work well with this. But this is what we teach all the time. So like Michelle says, if you're eating cereal and donuts and so forth, bad idea. All right. Again, welcome to our AMA. Thanks for joining. We're taking questions about anything. Feel free to submit them. I've got a producer here who's rounding those up and giving those to us. Let's go on to the next question. I think, do you have a list of the questions there? I think.
I have the ones, yeah.
Okay, go on with, let's have Michelle do this next question.
So Andrea, thank you for your question so much. She says, what can I do when I hit a plateau? Eat well, I'm on a calorie deficit, but every day my weight goes up a few pounds or stays the same. The day I came in for my appointment, I weighed myself at home, same weight, and the next day I was up 3 pounds. I'm still stuck. What do I do to get off this? And that's a great question. We get this question
every day. Yeah.
Multiple times a day, for sure. I think I usually start at kind of the foundation of hang in there. A true plateau is usually 4 or more weeks with no weight loss. And it is very common, especially in females, to fluctuate up to 5 or more pounds on a given day. Where we are in our cycles matter, how much electrolytes we took in or not, how healthy our bowel regimen is. I mean, there's a lot of things, a lot of factors that affect a day-to-day weight, or even a morning to night weight. So we tell people too that are weighing at different times of day, you're going to get different results. Even if you're fasting, you're going to weigh different at the end of the day than the beginning of the day. It's just the way the body works. So Andrea, I would say, if you have a good plan, if at your appointment we talk to you about what we thought was best, and you are executing that, I would, if the plateau sticks, then we can talk about things like fasting, or changing the calorie goals, changing the protein goals, changing the carbohydrate goals. We have a lot of strategy that can help for true plateaus, but a day-to-day flux like this, I would not consider a true plateau. Would you agree?
Yeah, I agree with that. Your body goes through these adjustments for reasons we don't completely understand. It's biological. It's designed to protect you. If you've been losing weight, and I always say the DNA in your cells knows you're losing weight, and they can do a calculation. Hey, 10 pounds a month, 6 months from now, I've lost 60 pounds. And if you're a person who weighs 170, that puts you at 110. Your body's thinking, you know what, at that rate, it won't be a year and I'll be dead. And so it starts trying to stop you, right? And so it has to make these adjustments to what you're doing. And so there's usually a way to get off of it. It's a little bit different with each person. If you have a true plateau, and like Michelle says, we can help you with that. One of the things I might say, that might be a time to add a medication that works by a different regimen than the one you're on. A lot of times that will break you off that plateau too. So, if you haven't been in a while, maybe it's time to make an appointment to come to to the office to see us, and we can discuss these things and maybe get you on the right regimen to kind of break through that. Let's see. Read off another question there. What you got?
Let's see. Denise let us know that she's concerned about what to eat. She recently turned 51, and her sleep is all over the place. Her weight gain is continuing. I don't think she's currently coming to her practice. She's active, but not like she was. So basically, she's saying in general, what I would say my first recommendation is come back and see us, Denise.
Yeah.
Let us help you, because
right.
you don't have to do it on your own. She also mentioned that she has gallstones, and so she's not sure how to navigate that. So that's something that we would definitely discuss during an appointment. Denise, you're not the only patient who has had gallstones or had their gallbladder removed. A lot of our patients have actually had their gallbladders removed, and for many of them, that does change what they can eat and how they can eat it. So we have to.
Yeah, I think there's an important distinction there. To have gallstones is quite a common phenomenon that if you just did ultrasounds on asymptomatic people in society, just pulled them off the street, did a ultrasound, you'd see a lot of them had gallstones. The question is, do the gallstones cause you symptoms? Okay, cause you abdominal pain. And if in that case, the stone is usually trying to get out of the gallbladder and is blocked by the narrowing neck of the gallbladder. And this is what gives you the pain, is the contraction of the gallbladder against the stone stuck in that neck. And in that case, eating a lot of fat is going to exacerbate the problem. And that might be the case for a low-fat diet. But that is not usually the case. Most of my patients have, will tell you, hey, I got a scan for one thing or the other, and I was found to have gallstones, but it's not the source, for example, of whatever complaint they originally had. So in that case, there's really no limitations. That's kind of a normal thing.
Absolutely. And remember, for patients who have previously been with our practice, you're not a new patient again. No matter how long it's been, you're always an established patient, and the fee will be the same as a regular follow-up visit. So for anyone out there who's watching thinking, should I, shouldn't I don't know, is it going to be cumbersome? Right now, we are making it as convenient as possible to restart with us, because we understand this is a really difficult time. So we will definitely do it. Call our Durham office or call our Raleigh office, and we will help.
Yeah, that's right. This is a kind of a unique benefit is that we here with at your medical history, and we can give you the right kind of guidance. And just a standard weight loss place, they don't really take all this stuff into account. So this is a unique benefit of coming here. And
having a pharmacy on site.
Yeah.
Again,
right.
This makes it so that if we do prescribe medication, which we often do because this is a medical condition that medication is very important for, we have it right here. You do not have to go from us to the pharmacy, to another pharmacy if they don't have it. We have probably what you are going to need right here. And if not, we will make sure that you get it in a way that is convenient for you.
Okay, I got another question here, and this is I get this all the time. It's another one we get all the time, and we see it in the office every day. It's from Jaron. Thank you for submitting the question, and it has to do with she's reached her plateau, okay? And when she tries to wean down her medicine, she finds that she gets really hungry, and it's very easy to gain weight back. And so she wants some advice in this regard, and this is really good because she tried like halving it, and even doing that, this was a problem. So, I think she's kind of asking, hey, is the full dose okay to take for the long term? And is this, what are my options here? What do you think?
Now, again, a question we get all the time. Thank you. That's a great question. A lot of folks are worried about taking medication for their weight long term. And when you really look at the evidence, there is not a reason to be concerned about that. Just like people go on medication for blood pressure or for depression or for rheumatoid arthritis, no one wants to be on these medications. But when you need them and they help, no one wants to come off of them either. So with weight loss, it is the same thing. This is a long-term medical condition for which the body changes physiologically, and our hunger is higher and our metabolic rate is lower once we've lost weight. And even though you're doing a great job, I'm sure, doing your dietary regimen and all the lifestyle things that we've talked about, it's sometimes not completely within your control. And so the medications help with that biology that you don't have total control over. We have many, many patients who are on the full dose of the medications that they were on to lose the weight in order to keep the weight off. And that is a perfectly good reason to remain on medication, is not to regain all that weight you worked so hard to get off. And many of the medications we use have been on the market for decades. They have great safety. And basically, how you feel on them short term, that's how you're going to feel on them long term, or even less side effects once your body gets a little accustomed to it.
Yes, that's correct. And so you need to view it as a long-term condition. And if you need a full dose of medicine to keep weight off, then you need that. Now, I will say that, I got some patients that are really disciplined and they're very good at behavioral modification and exercise and really watching their diet closely, and they need less medicine or even none at all. But you got to be really on your game, because this biology that Michelle talks about is real. Your body's making more of the hunger hormones to try to make you gain this weight back. This is the response to the weight loss, right? And this is why, the AMA says this is a disease. This isn't something that people imagine in their minds. So this hunger you describe is real. The medication is keeping it in check. Now, if you responded to that hunger by eating an excessive amount of vegetables to fill you up, I assure you, you wouldn't gain any weight back. But that's a very hard thing to do, because there's also hormones being made and chemicals being made that are making you crave certain things. And those things you crave, I always say, aren't celery. Okay, so so if there's nothing wrong with you if you feel like you need a full dose of medication to keep this off, and it is safe to do. And I tell you what's not safe is gaining that body fat back. Even gaining some portion of it back is enough to put you in an inflamed state. And this is a real important thing during this time where we're talking about coronavirus, because what is the real, the medical issue in terms of whether you're hospitalized or not is whether you have this inflamed state. So it turns out obesity is the #1 chronic disease risk factor for getting hospitalized with this disease. And this is a good reason to prevent weight regain. And if you're not eyeballing this, you need to be eyeballing it right now.
Absolutely.
Keeping your diet under control, keeping that inflammation down. This is a great time to be on your game. All right, let's get on to another question. I had one from Tamika here. It's pretty simple. I think we kind of covered some of it already, but she said she heard breakfast should contain 30 grams of protein. Is that correct? And what is a good breakfast that's not, say, a sweet tasting thing like a shake?
Good question.
Yeah.
Good question. So yes, Tamika, you are correct. When we break our fast, as we touched on earlier, that could be early in the day, that could be midday, that could be late day. So breakfast is really just the first meal that you eat in a day. It really should have 30 or more grams of protein. And although we were conditioned, at least I was growing up, breakfast was more sweet, there are a lot of really great options for breakfast, different eggs, meats, cheeses, doing Greek yogurt, and breakfast does not have to be a different category of food. I preach this all
That's right.
day long. Although we were kind of taught by the food companies that breakfast is in this little box of cereals and bagels and whatnot, you can have a salad for breakfast if you so choose.
That's
it
exactly
is
right.
fine. And you could do salmon salad, you could do tuna salad, you could do egg salad, you could do chicken salad if you want more of like the mayo-based salads. Or you could do a vinaigrette-based salad. It does not matter. If you
travel around the world, you'll find in a lot of countries that aren't as modernized as ours, don't have the heavy Western influence of these food companies, people don't eat cereal and bread and stuff like that for breakfast. They don't do it. Okay, they eat a lot like Michelle talks about. So, I always have patients that go on trips to places like Israel, for example, to do religious tours, and they come back, and I always ask them, what did breakfast look like? And it was meats and cheeses and vegetables and things like that. That's at the places they stayed. That's what they served. And so this is normal. Now, look, you could take some eggs and egg whites and make a simple scramble with some meat and vegetables and cheese. That's real easy to do, and you can get your protein that way, and you don't have to worry about all that sweet tasting thing you're talking about.
I really like making frittatas or egg muffins because you can vary the flavor profile so much, and it's so easy. You just scramble up a bunch of raw eggs in a bowl, and you decide what kind of veggies you want, what kind of meats you want. If you want some cheese in there, seasonings, spices, herbs, and then you just mix it all together, pour it in a casserole dish, and you bake it. And then you cut it in little squares, or you put it in a muffin tin, you pop the little egg muffins out, heat them up. It is perfect. And you can find recipes online on the Casual Keto Doctor website, on our website, Instagram, and I think that'll help a lot because your breakfast people do get stuck on. So good question, Tamika.
All right. Well, again, for those of you who just may be joining, this is our Ask Me Anything Facebook Live event for Dr. Simonds Metabolics and Weight Loss. We're here in our Raleigh office on the Falls of Neuse Road out by 540 across from the Lafayette Village. And I'm Dr. Simonds, and this is Michelle Kennedy, nurse practitioner here at our practice. And we're fielding questions, and we appreciate you tuning in. Let's see here. Give me another. You got another question over there?
Yeah, so Joe Laverne is asking a great question about how the CBD oil is related to weight loss.
Yeah.
And our CBD products are very popular for many reasons, helping with pain, helping with sleep, helping with mood. But we are finding, as Joe Laverne is kind of alluding to, that patients are also finding a significant benefit when it comes to weight loss and appetite control and craving control. So I know you can speak to.
Yeah, that's correct. So your body has multiple mechanisms whereby it regulates your weight. And one of these, I just think of it as, I always say, it's a house with a lot of doors. And you can get in the house multiple different ways. You get the front door, the garage door, the back door, through a window. There's lots of different ways to get in the house. And you think of that as your body's weight regulation mechanism. There's multiple ways to get into it. One of those is called the endocannabinoid system. Your body makes compounds that are cannabinoid-like. In other words, the same kind of cannabinoids that are in hemp plants. That makes those compounds that bind to these receptors that signal your body, hey, I'm hungry, I'm full, I crave, I don't crave. So one of those, in a type of hemp plant called marijuana, which I'm sure most of you are familiar with, there is a compound called a THC, right? And THC binds to a specific receptor in that endocannabinoid system, and that makes you hungry. And I'm sure some of you have witnessed either in your own life or examining other individuals, people who are under the influence of this like to eat. Okay. Now, the thing about full spectrum hemp oil is it does not have that THC in there, but it's got a lot of other cannabinoid compounds that interact with these receptors in your body's central nervous system and in the periphery that it with consistent use will signal your body, hey, I'm less hungry and I don't crave things. You just got to consistently use it. Now, it is also a very potent anti-inflammatory and seems to work in multiple ways, helping things like mood and sleep. And so the benefits are numerous. And we carry a really good brand here at our practice, and it currently is during the COVID-19 crisis, we're selling it at half price. And so we'd love to have you try that. If you do decide to try it, I would just suggest that you stick with it. Yes. Okay, you give it at least 3 or 4 weeks until you to see the effect. So it doesn't magically work overnight, but I've got a lot of great success stories on it, and many patients come back and will testify to its benefits.
I agree. And I say too, there comes a secondary benefit for appetite and cravings when we have a better mood and when we are sleeping well, because both of those things impact our food choices tremendously. So even just feeling better will help people stay on track better. And keep in mind too, I know we have a lot of healthcare workers and first responders who cannot have a positive drug test, and we do have a version of our hemp oil that has no THC. There is no way it would turn a drug screen positive. So we can still help if you are worried about that, because I know there are employers saying you can't have any of it, don't even risk it. But we have the certificate of analysis to prove that yes, you can take what is called our broad spectrum version of the CBD oil, where there is absolutely 0% THC,
Correct.
But you still get great benefit from the CBD.
Yeah, I personally use this, and it really is very, very, very helpful. And on a lot of fronts, I sleep much better since I've been using it. I have a whole lot less joint pain, things like workouts, and I'm less hungry. I crave things less. That's the bottom line.
Great.
So I want to get to another question that we got submitted by India, and this is something I hear pretty, on a fairly regular basis. And the question is about India came here at some time in the past and was very successful using a prescription diet medication like phentermine, and she then was gone for a while. She came back, and after regaining some weight, and she's taking that medication again. And she's changed her eating habits, and she can't lose weight. And so this is this kind of question, I think, is really good because your body changes over time.
Absolutely.
And there are reasons why you may be seemingly eating the right thing and taking an appetite suppressant, and then you can't lose weight. One of the common things is insulin resistance that may have developed. So, in other words, your body's insulin level still may be too high, and it's a chemical that's saying don't lose weight. So even though you're less hungry, and even though you are following what you think is a good diet, if that insulin level's too high, it's saying don't lose any weight, right? So you've got to get that down. How do you get the insulin level down?
That's a very good question. So I get this a lot, especially female patients. As we get more mature, we develop usually a level of insulin resistance that is much more than when we were in our teens and 20s. The thing that I am often recommending to most to women especially is we have to switch our focus from just controlling calories to controlling carbohydrate, refined carbohydrates specifically, because the greatest insulin response you're going to get is from refined sugar and refined flour. So all the processed cookies, crackers, chips, pretzels, those are what, and the baked goods, whether it's soft and sweet or salty and crunchy, if it's made of flour or sugar or refined corn or refined potato, it is going to not only increase your insulin level, but keep it there in a way, like he just said, is signaling your body, do not let go of any weight, do not let go of any fat. So carbohydrate control is extremely important, extremely important.
That's right. It's important. We can also add a medication called metformin to your regimen. So taking the carbohydrate down, adding metformin to your phentermine, these are things that can get this insulin level down. And so, but you need to be committed to that concept. I hope that answers your question. If you'll start counting the carbohydrates and be aggressive about it, you'll notice you can get down, say, to 20 grams gross a day. And you're going to find when you get under that, I'll be willing to bet you immediately start to lose some weight, right? And you may have more in there than you realize. So not net, but gross. So give that a try, India, and see if that doesn't help. I want to thank all of you for joining us today. We are coming to the end of our time here, and I really appreciate the last few weeks in doing these. All the people who have attended these, sent in questions, sent in comments, and we're going to post this show, like the others, on our website and include the answers to your questions, right? So when you see our email announcements, so we're doing these every couple of weeks, and when you see our email announcements that we're going to have one on Monday, feel free at that point to start sending in questions. We'll get them typed out and stuff, so my producer can give them to me, and we can answer all of this stuff. Look, again, I know that this whole COVID-19 thing's got people kind of freaked out, and there's no need to get freaked out here. I don't want you guys to be and girls to be ruled by fear. I want you to be positive. We're open. We're going to be open through this. So if you can either come in the office or we can do telephone follow-up visits, whichever works for you is fine. We can do it either way. If you're sick, we don't want you to come to the office, but I think everybody knows that. We're on staff to work, and we're taking all the normal precautions that should be taken. And we've got overwhelmingly good feedback about being open. So we're doing creative things like curbside pickup for medication, shipping you your medication after a telephone follow-up visit. So we're just making it as easy as we can for you. And we really appreciate your business and supporting us during this time.
Yeah, and keep in mind, if you are really struggling right now, you are not alone. You are absolutely not alone. We have so many people coming in saying, I am having a really rough time, but that is what we are here for. So Thank you for attending.
Yeah, thanks so much. And again, stay positive. Let's all stay positive.
Yes, have a good week.